y'all. Welcome to Tuesdays at 12. I'll be doing weekly Instagram lives on Tuesdays at 12 to peel back the curtain of what it's like to be in therapy so you can kind of get an insider's look. So every week I'll be covering questions or covering topics in different categories that are set based on the week. This week, the category of the week is Ask a Therapist. So I'll be answering 2 questions. Just a quick disclaimer, this is not meant to be a replacement for actual therapy. This is just meant to whet your appetites so that you can go to your actual therapist to get the full course meal. So question number 1, how do I know if I'm making progress in therapy? Now, it's easier for people to know that they're going in a generally good direction when they've set a general destination or a goal. So this is an actual question that I have new clients answer through their intake forms. If this space were to be helpful for you, this space meaning therapy, if this space were helpful for you 3 months from now, what would you see be different? What are some signs and indicators that things have actually changed for the better? And so, an example, let's say for someone who's coming in, they want to work on relationship issues and say, I would like to directly ask for what I'm needing without crying. So that's the set goal. And tracing back from that goal, so kind of reverse engineering, we'd be able to see some steps in between. So these are called the metrics. So an example of an indicator signaling that the person's going in a helpful direction is, first, do you know what needs you have? Do you know what needs you tend to have? Do you recognize that there probably was some time in the past when you were able to successfully do that? What was it about that situation? What was it about that person that you were talking to? What was it about that need that made it possible? And so on and so forth. So again, if you set your goal and destination very clearly, then it's easier to define the metrics in between. You can use that, you can write it out before you ever begin therapy and kind of hold on to that piece of paper so that as you're going through the therapy process, you kind of have the sense that, all right, I'm still maybe far away from where I would like to be, but at least things are moving in a helpful direction. So if you find that in your sessions that the conversation with your therapist is getting pretty repetitive, you're talking about the same things over and over again, or maybe you're running out of things to talk about, that might be an indicator that the therapy space is not working. So you need to have conversations with your therapist, make adjustments so that it's more aligned with what you need, and then hopefully things will get better for you. Or it might be an indicator that things are actually working because you might have gotten to where you wanted to be sooner than you might have expected. And so if you're running out of things to talk about, if things are repetitive and it's indicative that things are actually working, perhaps it's a good time for you to talk with your therapist to maybe transition out of therapy by graduating through what's called termination, or to space out your sessions. That's called maintenance mode. So that's question number 1. Question number 2 is, how do I know if a therapist is not a good fit? Now, ideally, people who are coming to therapy are going to therapy on their own terms. They're going voluntarily. They're not dragged into sessions. It's really important for there to be a good fit between anyone who's coming in and the therapist who's joining them. So again, if you've defined your goals pretty clearly, then it's kind of good to tell. It's easier to tell whether or not the therapist is a good fit based on topic. If you seem to be going in a very different direction than what you signed up for, well, it's good to have a conversation with your therapist. Sometimes what they offer and what you need might not be aligned, and that's totally okay. We as therapists are trained to be professional listeners, but we don't always have the ability to read people's minds, so it's very helpful if we can have those explicit conversations. Sometimes adjustments are possible. It's better to bring them up sooner than way down the line. So that's one. Another sign that things are or aren't a good fit with a therapist is based on your gut reactions. So of the clients that I work with that were fantastic fits, I felt that way, they felt that way, they came in, they defined their goals, they got to work, they graduated. For me, as a medium-term therapist, it's usually 30 or 40 sessions. When I asked them what they felt the first session in these surveys that I send out quarterly, the number one thing that they indicate of the emotion that they felt is relief. That they felt seen, they felt heard, they felt known, that they felt less confused, so they felt more clarity, deeper understanding. Those are all pretty good signs. So if you happen to be someone who is tuned into your emotions, those are pretty good indicators. The opposite of those emotions will be feeling more confused or more overwhelmed or feeling nervous. It's okay to feel nervous in starting any new thing, but if that sense of nervousness doesn't dissipate over the first couple sessions, you might want to check out somebody else that your body feels more at ease with. When we're more tense, we're not likely to get to the heart of the matter as easily, which means you might end up taking more sessions than you might really need to. If you find someone who with whom your body can feel at ease, and you don't have to understand why, it's just, it is what it is. So if you check in with your body, you feel more relaxed, then you're probably able to go at much greater depth than with someone where you're more guarded and reserved with. One last point is that this whole thing, therapy is about you and your needs. It's not about the therapist. It's not about what the therapist needs. It's not about what the therapist feels. Don't spend your precious resources like your time, energy, and money trying to kind of navigate how the therapist might feel if potentially you don't feel like it's a good fit or you want to transition out. This space is meant for you. You don't even owe an explanation. Now, if you feel more comfortable having a closure conversation with your therapist, power to you. That will be a good part of your own process. If let's say you feel unsafe with a therapist, feel free to not have that closure conversation. You don't owe them an explanation or anything. So you can just indicate, maybe like by email or message, that going forward you'll no longer be working with them. That's okay. So to kind of quickly summarize all these things, I have written a couple blog posts. I will add the link into the comment box, so check in like maybe 10 or so minutes. One blog post that's about how to find a therapist, and another blog post about how to prepare for your initial consultation call, which can also be used for the first couple sessions anyway. So glad y'all can make it, and we'll be continuing same time next week, Tuesdays at 12. Next week we'll be talking about emotions. So from all of me to all of you, thank you for joining.